It's your boy, Jeff Jones.
You know me, the upset specialist, Thomas Boykin.
Hey, always and forever. Who? Mr. Mike Jones.
And this
Yes, sir.
is 234 Sports Talk.
Let's
Fellas,
talk
let's
about it.
talk about it. Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
it.
it. Yes, sir.
All right, big news, fella. Aaron Rodgers. The Aaron Rodgers saga continues. Once again, the Packers deciding to move on from Aaron Rodgers. And they've decided to give Jordan Love the keys. And he's going to be the starting quarterback for the upcoming season. Well, we all know that Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets met last week, I believe it was. Top brass from the Jets organization flew out to California to meet with Aaron Rodgers at his home. And from what I understand, it was a pretty good meeting. It's a positive meeting. And Aaron said that his intentions is to play for the New York Jets. But from what I'm getting and what I'm hearing from Aaron Rodgers, matter of fact, out of the horse's mouth, is that he's not the one that's holding up this deal. He said that the Packers are holding up this deal, and the reason that they're holding up this deal is that they want compensation from the New York Jets. From what I'm getting, that they it was rumored that they wanted 2 first-round draft picks. Now I'm hearing that they want a first-round draft pick and some more compensation, and that's why things haven't been able to, this deal hasn't been able to been made. This deal hasn't been made because of that. Fellas, what is your take on this with Aaron Rodgers? Do you think that the New York Jets would be a good fit for Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, without question, he'll be a great fit for the Jets organization for sure. The problem is this: the money that they restructured for Aaron Rodgers to get him paid to stay there is going to wind up biting him in the butt. Aaron Rodgers is still a great NFL quarterback who still probably, I would give him still maybe 2, maybe 3 more years, if not 4 tops, if they put the right ingredients around him, offensive line, a running game, and a couple of good receivers. The defense for the Jets is not actually bad. The defense is actually has its moments where it's really, really good. But as far as Aaron Rodgers goes, people might not want to hear what I'm getting ready to say, but the money that they might not pay him, you might see Aaron Rodgers starting quarterback with the Green Bay Packers. If they can't work a deal, you might see him still starting for the Green Bay Packers, even though they want to move on. The money part is going to be the issue, and if they're going to have that much money still holding on to him and they can't get rid of him, you might as well play him because he's a proven winner. So it's kind of apples to apples right now until they work a deal out. What you got on it, MJ?
Yes, sir. Mr. Aaron Rodgers, man. I don't know this thing. It may get ugly. You know, and I think if I'm Green Bay, man, the way Aaron Rodgers has kind of played us over the past couple years, man, I would play him. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Jones, it seems like Green Bay is holding him up, but they might be doing it on purpose. Who knows? But I
It
think
will be.
Aaron Rodgers would be a good fit for the Jets. My only thing is he's come up with some requests of certain players that he want to play with, which I don't know, man. I don't know what he's thinking about with these players, but as long as he come in there, man, wanting to play ball and it's not bullheaded, you know what I mean? He would definitely be a great fit because he can play. I don't know if I could just deal with who he is as a person, man. That would be my only issue with him going in with a bunch of young players with the Jets. You know what I mean? Sometimes, man, being a great player don't always fit well in the locker room. But it's kind of ironic that Brett Favre, when his playing days were over with Green Bay, he was sent to the Jets, I believe. And so it's kind of funny, man, how how that's working out. But yeah, I definitely think this trade it may not happen like Thomas say, but man, if he does be back in a Green Bay Packers uniform, I don't look for it to go well there.
Well, from what I'm understanding, the Packers have made their decision. They're moving on from him. So you know, he's owed $59 million. Okay, so once again, it's just a matter of the Jets and the Packers coming to terms, and once they come to terms, then Mr. Rodgers will be wearing green and white. So yeah, it's just a matter of what they can do. And getting back to Mike Jones, you talked about this wish list that Aaron Rodgers gave the New York Jets. And on that wish list, Odell Beckham Jr. was one of the guys that he wanted them to try to target and get there. And he also said his good friend Randall Cobb, he wanted to try to bring him over. Now we see former Green Bay Packer Lazard just signed with them for 4 years. I believe $44 million. So when we look at that, and I believe Mercedes Lewis is the other guy that he had on this wish list. What do you think about these guys? Do you think that these guys could help them? I mean, most of them were in Green Bay, and we saw the results there. I mean, you think that those guys could really help them, help him in the organization in New York?
It's funny while you was mentioning that, the thought came in my head. They're building the New York Packers.
That's a good one.
Come on, man. Think about it. If you're trying to bring all these former Packers in, you're trying to bring in the New York Packers. Basically, that's what you do. Yeah, you're bringing in guys that you're confident in, that you know you can make plays with because you played with them previously, so you know what they're capable of doing. But here's the part that he's not thinking about. The part that he's got to think about is the Jets receiver core, as it stands right now, is still a really good core of guys.
Yes, sir.
He's not walking into an organization where they don't have legitimate targets. They got legitimate targets in New York. He just got to understand, yeah, you're an older guy. These cats is probably faster than what you're used to playing with, so you got to get adapted to speed. Because Green Bay, you had a couple of guys that could take the top off, but the Jets have a few guys that could take the top off. So it's like, come on, man, you're already walking into a better situation. The only thing I would address with the Jets, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, is the offensive line. If I'm a 35-year-old plus quarterback, the one thing I gotta have in play is an offensive line. If you're going to expect me to get you somewhere, you gotta have an offensive line, and you gotta have a running game. So I mean, but Lazard and as far as them getting Odell Beckham, that ain't gonna happen. Odell brings too much baggage. Odell is not a locker room guy. He's not a guy that's conducive to bring your locker room together. He's more the type of individual to blow your locker room up with drama and other stuff. But I could see a couple of people that's free agents that will be willing to help the Jets organization out. That will definitely be a plus. And we'll probably get to that later on in the show. But there's a few other pieces that can help them out. What you got on it, MJ?
Yeah, Thomas, I agree with you, man. You definitely, know what you're talking about, man. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm concerned about an offensive line. For him to throw out those names of the players that he did makes me wonder, is he serious about even going over there to the Jets? You just threw some ridiculous names out there. Odell Beckham. Not only, like you said, Tom, he can sometimes be tricky in that locker room, but then also, man, he's not a young guy either. You know what I mean? And he's been
He's not.
He's been getting injured here and there lately. And then Cobb, man, the nicest guy he is, man, and he was productive back in his early days, but them days are over. But if I'm going to the Jets, my main concern is the offensive line. You know what I'm saying? And if that wasn't the first thing that came out your mouth, are you serious about going over there? That's just my take on it, Jones.
Yeah,
I
well,
think he
speaking of,
pretty much wants a super team. I think Aaron Rodgers is what he's trying to do is build a super team so he can give him more of a shot to win a Super Bowl. And even still, you're in a division where you're playing some explosive teams. The Jets are in a division. Keep this in mind. You got to see Miami twice. You got to see Buffalo twice. You got to see the Patriots twice. Come on, man. And if you're not concerned about the offensive line with playing them cats, come on, man. Because it's not like Miami is a slouch squad. Miami is not a slouch squad. And Buffalo, Buffalo is a primary Super Bowl contender. So come on, man. You're putting yourself in a mix and you're worried about star players. You better be worried about this offensive line. Straight up.
well, fellas, when we look at these guys that he requested on this wish list, Odell Beckham Jr. is 30 years old. Alan Lazard, he just signed, he's 27 years old. Then you look at the other two, Randall Cobb and Mercedes Lewis. Randall Cobb is 32 years old. That's old for a receiver. And then Mercedes Lewis, he's 38 years old.
Ooh.
So, yeah,
Like I said, the Jets, what he's not understanding is the Jets receiver core is not a bad group of guys. They're actually a pretty solid group of guys.
But once again, with that time, even in Green Bay, me being a Packer fan, he has to have somebody that he feels he can depend on. The chemistry has to be there. When Devontae Adams was here, they had that chemistry. It's like those two knew each other inside out. And with Randall Cobb, it's the same way. Those two know each other inside out. So he's got to have that security blanket, as when they talk about the receiving core.
Yeah, you still gotta. Here's the thing. Even when he had Devontae and even when he had Randall Cobb before that relationship was built off the field, and you can do the same thing with these cats with the Jets. You can do the exact same thing.
That's right, Thomas. I'm gonna say this: if you're a great quarterback, Joe Montana, he went to Kansas City. He did it with new weapons. Tom Brady, he won a Super Bowl with new weapons. So if you're a great quarterback, you will adapt to the receivers that you got. I mean, familiarity, familiarity with a receiver, that's something I would think, Jones, that's something that maybe a young quarterback that would have that problem with. But Aaron Rodgers, he knows how to read defenses, man, and if the player is running the right route, hey, he get it to him.
But here's the problem with bringing in somebody that you're familiar with you. If you've been in the league long enough, every defensive coordinator in the league knows if you bring in a Randall Cobb, Lazard, that's what you're going to look for. So they're going to dream up exotic defenses to take them two targets away for you so that you got to use the other receivers. So, I mean, it works, but then it can work against you. Because you got to remember, a lot of these defensive coordinators got long-term memory. Like, oh, he used to play with it. I can schematic around that and take them away or take either one away. Now, what are you going to do? You got to lean on these Jets receivers that you should have been leaning on in the first place. You're basically you're basically telling these guys coming in the door, you're basically telling these guys they can't play, which is not fact.
Well, fellas, we'll see what happens with this Aaron Rodgers thing. And I'm hoping everything, they can work out a deal. Uh, Turning to other news in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys decided to part ways with Ezekiel Elliot. He's been cut from the Dallas Cowboys. What's your take on this? Do you think that what do you think as far as Ezekiel? Does he still have it? Does he still have some gas left in the tank? And what do you think would be a good landing spot for Ezekiel Elliott? From what I'm getting, there's a few teams interested in him.
Oh, without question.
Houston,
Without
Buffalo,
question.
Chicago, the Bengals, and the Chargers. So what do you think? What do you think a good landing spot would be for him? And does he still have any gas left in the tank?
Hey, that look with the Bengals would not be a bad look either. Bringing him back to Ohio, bringing him back to where he started it at Ohio State. Bring him back home and let him work. Same thing they did with Joe Burrows. Bring him from LSU, bring him back to Ohio, let him work. But I hate to hear that about Zeke. Zeke had a really good career with Dallas. I think they kind of, if you look at the body of work when Zeke first started there, they have moments where they would feed him and then they stop feeding him. Like, for example, there was a game years ago where they played the Bears and Zeke had 100 yards rushing at halftime. And then Dallas stopped giving him the ball. Like, why would you not utilize that? You didn't do that with Emmett. Y'all made sure Emmett ate. So why aren't you making sure Zeke eat? But that's a Dallas Cowboy thing we wouldn't understand. But as far as Zeke goes, I think he still got pop left. I still think he has a lot of juice left. It's just putting him in the right fit, finding somewhere he wants to go that would be a good fit. I think he would fit good. I think he would fit very good with Joe Burrows and the Bengals. I think he would fit really good with the Jets if they pulled the trigger with Aaron Rodgers. He would be a good fit for Aaron Rodgers. There's a couple places that Emmett in Chicago wouldn't be a bad fit for him either. He would not be a bad fit. But I'll tell you this: if it bites him in the butt, what's a scary thought is Zeke going to the Commanders or Zeke going to the Eagles. That's a scary thought. So I'm like, you're playing with fire. And you already suspect as it is, and you already got a quarterback that you're paying multi-millions of dollars that's not performing up to par. I will stick by my saying with that. Dak Prescott is good, but he's not great. But Zeke is going to make somebody a good pick. I do believe Zeke will still get some things done. What you got on him, MJ?
Well, with Zeke, I agree that with Dallas, he would get hot and they would stop feeding him the ball. Never understood their philosophy offensively at Dallas, and that's probably why they haven't won a Super Bowl in God knows how long.
95.
Zeke was definitely he has been a good back for them.
Absolutely.
His wasn't really injured much. He could have a hamstring or something here and there, but and I as far as age of a running back, I don't really think he has a lot of mileage on him.
No.
I just don't think he has a lot of mileage. He doesn't have a lot of injuries, so I think he still got some juice in the tank. However, I'm not for sure if he's a number one back. I think he would be a complimentary back. And I like what you said with the Washington Commanders, man. I never gave that any thought, but man, I would love to see him don that uniform and go into Dallas and put 150 on him.
It can happen, dude. It can happen.
Right. But Zeke, man, I've always liked him, man. But I don't think he's done for the Cowboys to cut him. But they cut him, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
cut
cut
him.
him. So yeah, he
Yeah,
could
they
go
cut him.
anywhere.
I'm some of the moves that Dallas make just don't make sense. It just don't, man. This is if you look back and look at the history since 1995, even with Zeke and Dak, which Zeke and Dak's best year was their rookie year. That was their best year. They have not returned to that since that. So come on. You got a guy, you got Dallas has always been loaded with talent. Always. They've always been loaded with talent. It's just a matter of getting the guys, number one, letting Jerry Jones understand you're the owner, but you're not the coach. Let the coaches do their job and put the product on the field. It's not your job to your job is to pay them, but your job is not to coach them. That's what you got coaches for.
Right.
You had the ideal coach the years that you won the Super Bowl. You had the ideal coach with Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson took you from being a zero to a hero back to America's team. He gets you to Super Bowls, you cut them, and you bring in guys that's ringers, figureheads basically, because they playing Jimmy Johnson football. You put in two figureheads, you win two more Super Bowls, then you ain't seen nothing since.
Well, look, the head coach for the Cowboys, they fired. I mean, not fired. Well, I guess they did fire the offensive coordinator. So he was saying that his philosophy is he's going to call the plays, and he said he's going to get back to running the football. He said he's going to. So obviously, did the head coach see something or didn't see something in Zeke that warrant that he could, blossom in his offense, because he talking about running the ball. Well, is Zeke not good enough for you to, to run your offense?
My thing is this. The only reason why you're talking about running the football is because Dak is not that good. You need a complementary running game to take the pressure off of Dak. And whether you realize that now or not, you should have been running the ball. You should have been never gave up on the ground game. If you're just now realizing that, you don't know the history of the Cowboys. Being a Cowboys coach, you know the history of the Cowboys. The Cowboys guaranteed bank. If you look at the history of the Dallas Cowboys, they've always had a good quarterback and they've always had a good running back. Point blank. So if you don't know the history of the Cowboys and you're just saying, oh, we got to get right back to running football, you don't know Cowboy football. Point blank. That's just me. And I'm not a Cowboy fan. I'm diehard Steeler, but facts is facts, and I give credit where credit is due. In their history, this is what they've had: legitimate receivers, great running back, great quarterback, pretty good offensive line. Those have been the staples for Dallas for years. So if you're just now figuring this out, maybe Jerry Jones got the wrong coach.
Well, fellas, we wish Ezekiel Elliot the best wherever he lands now that he's been cut from the Dallas Cowboys. Let's turn our attention to the NBA, fellas. I believe that Thomas is a little bit excited because his Lakers in that 10th spot right now.
We coming.
And the West is tight, real tight. So there's a possibility that they could make the playoffs without Mr. LeBron James. So what do you think about the Lakers? You think that they can make the playoffs without LeBron? And if they make the playoffs, how far do you think they'll be able to go in the playoffs?
Man, I am so happy about my Lakers making this move. You have no idea. If you look at what the Lakers are doing now, they are playing traditional Laker basketball inside out because they're leaning primarily on their center, Anthony Davis, which is what the Lakers traditionally do, play inside out. And the nucleus of young guys that they brought in is playing phenomenal basketball, and the ball movement is much more crisp. The ball movement is constant. The defense is playing a little more consistent. This is why I tell people all the time, if you was to ask me about what's going on, and I'm rebuilding this team, I lose LeBron James. Because the nucleus of talent that they have there is ridiculous. They can get this job done and just leave AD where he is. The only thing I may do as an organization with the Lakers is find a backup for AD. Because as we know, AD is always injury prone. But the nucleus of the core of the Lakers is there. They have a great shot. I think they can get in as an 8, which I told people at the beginning of the season, if we make anything, if we get in, we'll be an 8 seed, and we still got to play a number 1 seed, which I don't think they'll have enough juice to be the number 1 seed. But they'll definitely play competitive. I definitely believe that. What you got on MJ?
Yes, sir. I love what I'm seeing from the Lakers. They looking like they have a resemblance of that 80s Showtime sometime when I'm watching them play. You know, the ball is moving, the ball is getting out their hands quick. They're running the break, they're filling the lanes. They got a big man that's now playing like he's supposed to play. Um, you know, LeBron James, man, is a great talent, great talent. But however, he I don't know, he's just he does something to that offense, regardless of whoever's on that team. You know, we go back to former players, even when they won the game and won the title in the bubble. I don't know. I just didn't like LeBron's style of play. I don't know what it is. And I love LeBron, man. I love you, LeBron. If you're watching our show, man, it ain't nothing against you. It ain't nothing personal. But this team, I think, will go further if they're making it to the playoff, which I think if they keep it up, they will make it in there. And I think they will go further than what a lot of people think. But if they go in as an AC, they would definitely have to play Denver. And I don't think they can beat, like you said, Thomas, I don't think they have enough juice to beat Denver. But it's going to be exciting to see them try to get to that 8th spot, man. And then, like you said, man, when you can get in any organization, whether it's college, high school, professional football, basketball, if you can heat up late in your season to be able to carry over into the next season, you're working with some house money. So,
Exactly.
I like it, man. They got some hurdles to climb, man. But I think they can go. I think they can go further without LeBron as opposed to with LeBron on that squad. And if LeBron do come back, you know, for me, I wouldn't try and mess up that chemistry that the guys have with the Lakers, especially with the starting 5 or their rotation. I would basically have to fit LeBron in some kind of way or another. Maybe have him come off the bench. Who knows? That might be a big spark. You know what I'm saying? But to thrust him back into the starting lineup, I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm loving it, Jones. What you think?
Yeah, it's fun to see teams, man, that when the star goes down like LeBron did, and then everybody else just comes together. It's fun to see that. So, I'm hoping that they can make moves. But man, that West is so tight right now, and you can really flip a coin out West as far as who's
Yeah, it's
coming
wide
out of the
open.
West. When
It's
you look
wide
at
open.
it, fellas, just real quick before we go, who do you think? Who would your pick be to come out of the West, and who would your pick be to come out of the East?
I'm gonna be flat bold. Believe it or not, I'm gonna just be flat bold. I don't see Milwaukee not losing the title at all. I see Milwaukee winning this all.
So who do
I
you
think
think they would?
Milwaukee's body of work is showing that they're capable of running the table.
Who do you think they would be playing against out of the West? Who do you feel is capable of coming out of the West?
It's a toss right now. I mean, right now, if you're saying that if the number one team out west is the Denver Nuggets, they're going to plow Denver easily, easily. Um, the only, I think the only team that's built out west possibly will be, and that's if, and that depends on what they do with Ja Morant, will be Memphis. And even then, I don't think they got enough. Milwaukee is just that deep, that strong this year. I don't see them not winning it at all. I see them walking away with a title this year. But as far as the Western Conference goes, I don't know. Even the Warriors don't look that good. But Milwaukee poses too many problems. What you got on it, MJ?
Hey, like Lee Corso said, not so fast, my friend. Listen up, listen up, listen up, listen up, guys. Hey, I love Milwaukee. Man, they look unstoppable. They've been going on 14, 15 game runs, spurts. You know, if you look at it on paper, arguably they are the best team in the NBA. And you would expect for them to win the title. But I think Boston, man, I think they have gotten together to the point where they've gotten a little bit of experience with them now. So if they can make it to the playoffs, they understand how to play playoff basketball now. You know what I'm saying? Every round goes higher and higher. You know what I'm saying? You get better and better at it. I'm pretty sure, man, they're going to figure something out when it comes to Milwaukee. But having saying that, I really don't know. I'm going to say it's a 50-50 toss up. Whoever comes out the East between Milwaukee and Boston. Now on that Western side, Denver, Denver's got like a 4.5, 5, 6 game stretch ahead of the number 2, which is Memphis, and I think Sacramento was right on Memphis heels. So that's a toss up between those two. And with Memphis got a lot of variables here lately that you just don't know. I just don't think Memphis is gonna be able to cross the finish line to make it out to the West. Simply because not only with Ja Morant, they got another player that's out for the season, and then you got Big Adams. I think you don't know how he's gonna be, because he had something, dealing with his knee. So you don't know what you're getting. I think health wise, Memphis and the distraction is gonna eliminate them. Sacramento, man, that's Sacramento. And Denver, I would love to see Denver in a conference. I mean, in a NBA Finals, man. Hey, so I'm gonna go ahead on and go with Denver, man. Denver and a toss up between Boston and Milwaukee.
Well,
Oh,
fellas,
oh, oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. Now, if Kevin Durant, let's not forget about Phoenix. If Kevin Durant can come back and be healthy, even though he hadn't played with them much, they can be a threat maybe to a Denver in the Western Conference Finals. So look for those two matchups if Kevin Durant can get healthy.
well, fellas, let me get my take before we get ready to go. I got my Bucks coming out of the East. And in the West, I have Golden State turning it around and coming out of the West. I think Golden State is going to shock the world. And they're going to come out of the West. And it's going to be Milwaukee and Golden State. And I got Milwaukee. As Brandon Jennings says, always Bucks in 6. Well, it's been a real one, fellas. It's been a real one, fellas. We talked about it. And until the next time, it's been 234 Sports Talk. You can catch us right here on YouTube, catch us on TikTok, catch us on Twitter. Like, subscribe, comment. It don't cost you nothing to push that button. Come on.
Leave a
234
topic
Sports
even.
Talk.
What? We will talk about it.
We want to hear from you. Let's talk about it. It's been a real one, fellas. Until the next time, 234 Sports Talk. We